What does Zyn give you? Not just smoke-free nicotine satisfaction, but real freedom. Freedom to do what you love and choose your rewards. With Zyn Rewards, you can redeem points for premium tech, outdoor gear, and gift cards to your favorite retailers. Find your Zyn and keep finding rewards that fit your lifestyle at zyn.com/rewards. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
Now's a good time to remember where tequila's story truly began. In 1795, Cuervo invented tequila.
Cuervo.
What are you doing here?
Cuervo. Anytime someone says Cuervo, I show up.
Well, I do know that to be true, but even during ad reads, like...
Cuervo.
I think you could lay out, especially for one of our great partners.
Sweet, delicious Cuervo.
Since then, Cuervo has stayed true to its roots. The same family, the same land, the same passion.
Cuervo.
So, enjoy the tequila that started it all. Cuervo.
Cuervo.
The tequila that invented tequila. Proximo. Cuervo.com. Please drink responsibly.
Cuervo.
At Sierra, you'll always find apparel, footwear, and gear for 20 to 60% less than department and specialty store prices. But right now, it's clearance time, so you can save even more on everything you need to get active and outside. Visit your local Sierra store today.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings,
Why are you listening to this show?
the podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, Fat Face, and the habitual liar.
This episode is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Do you guys know the term micro bet? Do you guys know, are you familiar with what a micro bet
Is that like a prop?
is? It is a
Like
prop.
a dollar bet, $2 bet.
Nope, that is a good guess, but it is the reason that Luis Ortiz, Nationals pitcher, is on indefinite
Guardians.
leave. Guardian, excuse me. He's with Cleveland. Yes, my bad. He is on leave because he got caught, or allegedly has been removed, because when they studied some micro bets being made, they saw in 3 different states, allegedly, people had bet that his first pitch of an inning would be either a ball or a hit by pitch. And it happened twice, and there were bets coming from different states, and the pitches were well outside of the strike zone and were balls, and they were winning bets. And a lot of people are pointing to that as an alarm and saying that's one of the reasons that you should eliminate prop bets. And I'm saying that's exactly the reason that you keep prop bets, because that's how that gets caught. That is remarkably dumb, because no one else is betting that. So there's no one else in the world that's taking those bets except the people who are making the bets because they know something in 3 different states. That's how and why that gets flagged.
Like, which is more unusual, that right there that you just described, or, you know, the people betting Jonte Porter under 2.5 rebounds, you know? It's both so stupid that you would think you wouldn't get caught there.
I'm still unclear what exactly a micro bet is.
Small real-time wagers.
So, like, in the game, like a specific...
What happens next? A lot easier to do in football because the pace of the game allows for this. Like, for bigger games like the Super Bowl, what will the result of the next play be? You can get that on a lot of major sports books.
I'd say, though, that once you're in the position of needing the action that desperately, I would call for help on where it is that some of your gambling problems are. If you need action so desperately that you're on a Guardians game betting whether the first pitch is going to be a ball or a strike. And
That's living.
That is living. That sounds like a perfect Wednesday afternoon. So I'm glad we covered the full spectrum here. Do so responsibly or seek help. Wherever you land in there, just do it the right way, responsibly, and don't do it with some inside information because you're going to get pinched these days.
That is how people get caught on their stupidity, when the bets are that stupid that no one else is making them except the people in 3 states who know something.
But it could just be a junk, it could just be someone who loves action. Like, if I'm obscurely betting this thing,
Yes.
someone's going to look at it and be like, that must be that pitcher, because who else would bet that? I'll tell you who else would. I would.
Yeah, but they seize on suspicious betting patterns. Things like that can stick out, especially if it doesn't necessarily reflect previous action. Like, why are you only locked in on this pitcher for this game? Also, outsized bets. They do all sorts of investigations, trace it back on social media to see if an influencer's put this bet out there, and it's actually really easy for them to determine. They have a lot of data.
Also, the pitch, or one of the pitches in question, was like 15 feet outside, bounced and hit the screen behind home plate. Yeah,
it happens.
Not even close to being a strike.
Let's leave no room for error here.
I don't want to accidentally throw a strike here.
Well, what you don't want is someone swinging and fouling it off.
You don't want to get Angel Hernandez, where he calls a ball a strike, and you're like, no!
I missed that call.
It's probably why they got him out of the game. Gambling integrity.
I like the idea that he throws the ball in the dirt, and if the umpire calls it a strike, does he argue? Watch!
Screams and yells. DeMaurice Smith is writing a book, and I'm wondering, or it's coming out in August. He's written the book, and he's gone after Roger Goodell in it. He goes after Aaron Rodgers in it. What were your thoughts, Zaslow, when you heard that the head of the NFL Players Union was writing a book in which he goes after an assortment of people?
My thought was this tracks. Like, this is I feel like this is what we heard about DeMaurice Smith when he was running the union, that he was not liked and that there was something off about him. And now you have a former union chief who's writing a book that comes off, at least from the quotes that we're seeing in the book, comes off super low rent.
It does?
I think so, yeah. Yeah.
Because?
Well, because, I mean, it seems unprofessional, the things that he's saying there. And why would you, and he's attacking both sides, so I guess you're being fair in that sense, that he's attacking both sides. But man, it seems like low-hanging fruit going, Goodell, let's make sure we say something bad about him, everybody knows about him. Jerry Jones, let's make sure we know something bad about him. And this way you get the quotes out there and it sounds salacious and people are into it. I just remember hearing from anonymous players that DeMaurice Smith, something off there.
I have talked. What are you laughing about, Billy?
Anonymous players just reach out to Zaz. This DeMaurice Smith, I got to tell you something.
You don't believe that anonymous players reach out to me?
I just don't understand why anonymous NFL players are reaching out to you to take shots at the union head.
Something wrong there.
Billy, he used to host a show with an anonymous football player.
Let me get the quotes.
Rom dog.
He calls Roger Goodell a, quote, cold, dark void. He calls Jerry Jones cheap. Quote, if Jerry Jones saw a dollar bill on the ground, I truly believe he'd stop and pick it up.
Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't think that's an indictment of Jerry Jones.
Cash.
I asked Wayne Huizenga, the former owner of the Marlins and Dolphins, that question one time. What is the lowest amount of money that you would stop and pick up on the floor? He's like, a penny.
Wow.
I missed those days.
Whew.
Well, DeMaurice Smith thinks that's lame.
Just want to be abundantly clear to this beloved football player that I love with all my heart, that I want no smoke with. I was not calling you anonymous. I was just trying to protect your privacy, Rom Dog.
I love Romberg, so
he's
you're
the
not
man.
lumping me into that.
Yeah, I'm not taking a shot.
You did take a shot.
No, I don't. No, don't you do that. No, I wasn't. I was making a joke. Contextually, I'm covered. You stop stirring up shit.
I think that was the shot right there
Yeah,
that Dan
you
just
did.
did.
Whoa.
We had to save your life from Joaquin Gonzalez one time, and Romberg probably had
that right?
hands.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Stop stirring up shit.
Really?
Death of Peepo, yeah.
Really?
Mike Ryan took the opportunity when you mentioned that you talked to anonymous players to both make fun of you like Billy did.
Why did Mike do that?
I was helping out. Man,
Mike just came in and started calling out Zaz, saying that no NFL players talked. It was wild.
Dan, you're going down the wrong road here, pal.
You made a joke that he hosted a show, a very popular morning show for many years with an anonymous NFL player.
No, because
a Canes
I wasn't going
legend.
to rat him out. Billy was poking holes as to whether or not Zaz would have in his network former NFL players, and I don't want to dox Brett Romberg, but thank you, Dan, for totally having the joke go over you.
Oh, okay, so you're saying that he was anonymous as in that's the person who was
God.
giving me the info, as opposed to him being like a nobody.
Precisely.
How
I'm
am I
friends
the
with
only one
Romberg.
following this?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
He would have said that about Leroy Hoard.
I would have.
But he does a show with Tobin,
Ooh, I love Leroy Hort.
who also did a show with Zaslow, but didn't play in the NFL.
Not insulting these players.
By the way, just a quick aside here as we're talking about the Dolphins. So I guess I don't follow this account, but it's a for you, dolphinstalk.com. This day in Dolphins history, July 9th, 1976. Don Shula signs a 5-year extension with the Miami Dolphins and sells back his ownership stake in the team to Joe Robbie. Huge mistake. Yeah. Imagine having 10% of the Dolphins in 1976. You've had it since 1970, and you sell it back for pennies.
Mike Shula's got to be like, come on!
I mean, right now, he'd have $800 million if he just held on to that 10% stake. That's crazy, right? Horrible financial decision.
Now he's just holding on to stakes of stakes.
This is gonna ruin the Shulas forever.
I just want to understand a little bit better because your segue was, since we were talking about the Dolphins.
Yeah.
When were we talking about the Dolphins?
We were talking about the Dolphins. We were talking about...
No, go ahead. Give me.
You said Wayne Huizenga, Dolphins owner.
It was.
And Marlins owner, Wayne Huizenga.
Contextually
Former
covered.
Dolphins owner, Joe Robbie, and Dolphins coach and Hall of Famer, Don Shula.
I would say, though, that meant we were talking about picking up money, not talking about the Dolphins.
Speaking of money, Don Shula could have had $800 million right now, the Shula estate, had he been smarter with his financial properties.
Wednesdays move fast.
Speaking of money, and because you guys are often interested in the salary cap, I am curious whether you're interested about the information that I'm about to give you on the salary cap. You saw that story recently from Pablo Torre Finds Out about how immediately after Deshaun Watson's guaranteed money contract, 2 days later, the owners got together and are like, we have to be able to fix this. We have to try and collude here and make sure that we stop all this guaranteed money. Do you want to know how much in Peyton Manning's initial contract, how much guaranteed money there was?
Like when he came out of in the draft?
His initial contract, yes.
Couple million, maybe?
$0. Whoa. Zero guaranteed dollars. Brock Purdy now has 70% of his money is guaranteed, even though you can't totally be sure how good Brock Purdy is. You can't totally be sure. There's a lot of argument about that.
He's good.
70% of his money is guaranteed. Peyton Manning's was zero. But if you're following, for example, the New Orleans Saints, This was interesting to find out the other day because the Saints have the worst salary cap situation in the league. There were several coaches who didn't want to even interview for the Saints job because everyone knows that Mickey Loomis put them in a terrible position. And this is why Mickey Loomis and how Mickey Loomis put them in a terrible position. They had to keep giving Drew Brees money, and the way that they got around the salary cap is by knowing that every year the salary cap goes up, and then they just sort of squeeze in every year some things that were questionable, had a lot of debt in them, were risky. The pandemic comes, and then all of a sudden, for the first time, the salary cap goes down. The salary cap doesn't increase at the same rate of speed. But the part that I thought you guys might find interesting about that as a strategy to always just assume that the salary cap is going up and take your chances on future mortgages, one of the things that is interesting about what it is that happened there is that the pandemic made it so that the Saints had no idea whatsoever that there was the possibility that the salary cap wouldn't end up going up like it does every year. But as much as the salary cap has gone up every year, and I believe it's let me see if I can find the numbers because I don't want to get these wrong.
Let me give you some helpful information here. Yeah, he had $0 in guaranteed money. However, he made more in base salary than Cam Ward is making this year. The contract that he got was viewed to be so outrageous that it was hugely influential in what we have now, which is a rookie wage scale. So in base salary, way back then, more than 25 years ago, Peyton Manning was making as a number one pick more than this year's number one pick. Now you have signing bonuses that help mitigate that, and the guaranteed money is different than what Peyton Manning got, obviously, which was $0. But remember, Peyton Manning started this crazy run where people entered the league and they essentially, as quarterbacks, had the biggest contracts in the league, and that was unsustainable.
What's also unsustainable is what I'm about to say to you, though, which is since Peyton Manning, the cap has gone up 346%. but the quarterback market has gone up 408%. So that the quarterback is now chewing up, eating up more and more of your salary cap, no matter how much it goes up. And then you get into a situation like the Saints were in, where they have to keep paying their quarterback, Drew Brees, because he's their legend. And now they've got a team that coaches don't want to coach.
But they botched it. You get the replacement in waiting, and the league basically mandates you can take as many chances as you want on quarterbacks. Hell, look what Cleveland did this year in taking 2. They take Shador and Dylan Gabriel. If they're not happy with their number 1 overall draft pick, they can divest easily, and it's not an albatross on their cap number the way that it was. What happened in New Orleans is gross mismanagement, a lot of greed from their quarterback. Remember, they had a bunch of guys coming up at the same time. Jimmy Graham, he wanted his. He wasn't going to do the Tom Brady thing, which is like, let me work within the margins with you guys, see what kind of deferred money I can get, see what kind of signing bonuses I could get. Drew Brees was about that money.
The other thing, too, is Derek Carr's retirement also put them in further cap hell because they restructured the contract, went from $20 million to $69 million in 2026. What's up, guys? Tony here, and I wanted to talk about something super important, and that's how I keep my home protected. Obviously, you guys know I have a little one back at home. My wife is there with her, and I get tremendous peace of mind knowing that the moment I leave for work, that my home, my property, my family is protected, not just reactively, but proactively by Simply Safe. They are the number 1 for home security on the planet, on the market. There's nobody better than Simply Safe. I got the cameras going on. I got indoor cameras. I got outdoor cameras. I'm looking all over the place. Most security systems only take action after somebody breaks in, but you and I know that's too late, especially when you have a little one at home and when you have your wife at home and the big dog's not there, right? Simply Safe's new Active Guard outdoor protection helps stop break-ins before they happen. AI-powered cameras, live monitoring agents detect suspicious activity around the property. If somebody's lurking, agents talk to them in real time, turn on spotlights, and can call the police, proactively deterring crime before it starts. Everything's on the app. I want to see the cameras. Boom. I see who's walking their dog a little too close to my yard, maybe leaving some dog residue close to my yard. I can go on the microphone and say, buddy, clean up after your dog. Over 4 million Americans trust Simply Safe, and so do I. Simply Safe is offering Batard Show listeners 50% off a new system with professional monitoring. Plus, your first month is free. Visit simplysafe.com/DLB to claim this offer. That's simplysafe.com/DLB. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Hey everybody, it's Mike. Down here in South Florida, as the audience well knows, we've been celebrating a proper championship, and we've been enjoying every minute of it. And by my side throughout that entire championship celebration has been Miller Lite. Yeah, I wanted to make my championship time a Miller time because much like most of the fun memories I've had as an adult, Miller Lite has been right there by my side, supplementing every experience. And now that I'm about to travel during the summer, you can rest assured I'm going to be having plenty of Miller Lite along the way, because that's what summer's all about. And since 1975, Miller Lite has been right there in all those memories for you listening right now. It's the 50th anniversary of Miller Lite. That's 50 years of great taste, great friends, great moments. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, everybody, this is a wild one. For the first time ever, we've got a full-blown all-women's boxing mega event going down in New York City. 2 title fights, same night. And if you're like me and live for the action, DraftKings Sportsbook is where it's at. Never bet with DraftKings before? It's super simple. Just pick who you think is going to win, and that's it. Here's the kicker. New customers can bet just $5 and instantly get $150 in bonus bets. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now and use promo code Dan. That's promo code Dan for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Dan Le Batard. John Zaslow. How you Stugotz.
He's all smiles till the bronze are clutch again, clutch again, clutch again.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Speaking of money, the Thunder have now guaranteed Chet Holmgren $250 million. So the champions have now spent $535 million on two guys, Chet Holmgren and SGA. Zaslow, for those of you who might not know, is a giant Pearl Jam fan.
Yes.
How did you react to the news that Pearl Jam's drummer is retiring?
Oh, Dan, I was very sad. I was very bummed about that, man. All of a sudden, Pearl Jam, out of nowhere, seemingly. They just wrapped up the tour. I saw them a bunch of times on this tour. I don't know if you remember that. And the drummer, Matt Cameron, he was with them for 27 years, and he steps down. I don't know what it means for the future, but they need a new drummer now. You can't have a band without a drummer. So I was upset about it. But here's the thing. All right, here's what I'm dealing with now. I'm very upset about something that's going on at home as a result, in the Zaslow mansion, as a result of Pearl Jam's drummer Matt Cameron leaving the band. My wife is celebrating this. That's garbage, right? My wife is celebrating
Grounds
this.
for divorce.
She's happy that he left the band because she thinks it means that the band overall is closer to retiring as a whole and no longer touring, because she hates when I go on tour with the band. She hates when I go and I, guess what, guys, spend money.
Less money for her.
On
She
going
loves
to
it
see
'cause
Pearl
she loves
Jam.
money, yeah.
Wives, Dan.
Everyone loves money.
And wives love money.
And wives, they're part of everyone.
So my wife, she's chastising me around the house. You're done. No more Pearl Jam, And I'm like, man, I really don't like you right now.
He's heckling you.
Who have you loved longer, Pearl Jam or your wife?
Pearl Jam.
Yeah, so if I were her, I would be very careful.
I mean, I didn't say that I love Pearl Jam more, but
Okay, who do
but my
you
love
love more?
affair with Pearl Jam is like twice as long as with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you. I'm glad you agree on that, the both of you. I wanted to discuss, though, with you guys, not how Zaz's wife feels about this.
Oh, it's a problem.
But I was a little startled a couple of weeks ago, okay, because the entirety of the room was making fun of me about sounding old in a number of different ways, talking about the death of rock and roll, but more specifically, being confused by how a rock band like Pearl Jam or Aerosmith was the one that I was thinking of, how that would even break today. How would that happen today? Is it even possible? As my old rock stars all look like, your friend Joey's old aunt. You've got Steven Tyler looking like, your friend's old Aunt Bonnie. You have...
I believe all these photos are altered that we're showing on the screen.
I don't believe that Steven Tyler photo is altered. I believe...
Yes, it is. Yeah, they all are. This is off the internet.
All right, well, but I'm telling you that Steven Tyler, find me better photos than those of my old rock stars, Ozzy Osbourne, Marilyn Manson.
That Marilyn Manson picture is ridiculous.
John Bon Jovi.
That one's real.
No, that's how he looks. That's how he looks.
That's how Steven Tyler looks as well. But
that's how Steven Tyler looks.
Yeah, he has wrinkles.
The other one looked like Julia Roberts.
I think that photo is real.
It really does.
I think that is. I believe that is a real photo of the lead singer.
Like I'm watching Mom.
It would be the lone real photo in a set of 4 that are doctored.
Mike, I'm telling you to go look. Go search the entirety of the internet for Steven Tyler photos, and you will find Steven Tyler crushed it with Ozzy Osbourne this weekend. And what I wanted to talk about was Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne closing down Ozzy's career and what felt like celebrating the end of his life, because Ozzy Osbourne has been in poor health for a long time. One of the most amazing things of my lifetime is to watch Ozzy Osbourne go from person who America figured was satanic and a Satan worshiper to somebody who had such a bad drug problem that other drug addicts in music were startled when he topped them by snorting a line of ants that was on the floor on its way to a popsicle stick. That guy becomes a sitcom dad somehow on reality television.
They were the first reality TV family, I think, right?
Seeing Ozzy Osbourne as a sitcom dad was confusing to me, given that my childhood was filled with warnings from priests about how he was a Satanist. But so Mike Ryan says to me when I'm like, how can an old-timey rock band even break today to become popular? And Mike Ryan's condescending response to me was, the arena across the street is going to be filled with a satanic band this weekend that is performing, and I'm going.
Yeah.
It happens all the time.
Yeah, Ghost. Rock music is still chugging along. Ghost had a chart-topping album very recently. Rock music has kind of operated in the same space for the past 25 years. Really, ever since grunge had its moment in time, it hasn't dominated the music sphere. Back, you could make an argument rock was at the forefront of what was happening in music. Hasn't necessarily been the case. It's been more indie rock has its moment in the early 2000s. Radiohead popped in the late 90s, kind of taking it from grunge a little bit. But there's still very good rock music being made, very interesting music being made. There's a band called Turnstile that's blowing up this summer. Bands like Idols and Fontaines DC that their arrows are pointing up. I do think that rock music is eventually going to have something to say, and kids are going to gravitate to it because that's just the cycle of pop culture.
Were you moved by Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath this weekend?
I was super moved. And by the way, to that point, like rock music was huge in the 60s, had very similar lulls in its popularity in the 70s and 80s, comes back in the 90s. So for this specific genre of music, at least in this country, it's not uncommon for it to kind of go away and not be at the forefront of everybody's mind musically, and then all of a sudden blow up and have its moment. Is this the moment? I don't know. Maybe not. We'll see. There needs to be an American band that does what kind of Turnstile does on a much larger scale. But watching the Ozzy Osbourne clips, because when they announced this show, I'm like, okay, one last cash grab as this dude who can barely walk is going to fight through these things. And
well, he couldn't walk. I mean, they brought him out there on a throne. He sat on the throne the whole time.
Sat on the throne the entire time, and I had no idea that the programming around this, they had a rotating stage. Yeah. So bands would set up behind the bands that are going on.
Isn't that great when festivals have the rotating stage?
I love that. So you don't miss a moment of the action. They just rotate the stage and boom, there's Metallica ready to go. There were so many great bands that were of Black Sabbath's time, well, not necessarily Black Sabbath, but Ozzy solo time of the 90s, and contemporary acts over there. It was really a dream card of rock legends. And it was
quick. It's like each band, even like Metallica, they only had like 15 minutes. It was just every
a giant show of respect for what Ozzy Osbourne and Black Sabbath meant as edgy people who really shook the core of America because, among others, the church was really mad about the existence of Ozzy Osbourne. For those of you who don't know any of Ozzy Osbourne's controversies, you can find some of them for me, but one of them was that he was on stage early in life and just bit the head off of a bat.
Bit the head off a bat. That adds to the legend, and obviously kids would gravitate towards that because it was scary. The church would warn, your parents would warn, and people are naturally rebellious, and sometimes they'll gravitate to conservatism or back then satanic rock music. But what was really cool were the supergroups that they formed. Steven Tyler, who, keep in mind, Aerosmith retired. They broke up. They're done touring because Steven Tyler could not do it day in and day out. But man, I guess he rested his voice for this one show. He knocked everybody's socks off. It was an unbelievable performance. And I guess the real cool moment of the night was Ozzy sounded pretty good for someone that was stationary. And it was beautiful moments. Ozzy and Black Sabbath, they do have some pretty songs that have deep, impactful lyrics. And to hear the audience sing it back to him, and you could see it wash across his frozen face, that, wow. Like, they love me. It was a wonderful moment where people get to show.
He got emotional when he was singing Mama, I'm Coming Home.
That was a goosebump-inducing moment. I have goosebumps right now, because you basically realize, wait, is this a funeral?
Kind of felt like it. Mike's right. It was really great, Black Sabbath and then Ozzy playing together again. But, man, best part of the night, Steven Tyler stole the show. Like, that was... That, you want to talk about goosebumps? That was incredible because I remember Aerosmith was on tour last year with Black Crowes. I was going to go to that show. That's an amazing show. And they had to cancel because Steven Tyler just can't do it anymore. He had throat surgery. He can't sing anymore. It's over. He's 77 years old. And then all of a sudden, we got Steven Tyler up there doing Whole Lotta Love by Led Zeppelin and just killing it. He stole the show.
This episode is brought to you by State Farm. Knowing you could be saving money for the things you really want, like that dream house or ride, is a great feeling. That's why the State Farm Personal Price Plan can help you save when you choose to bundle home and auto. Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Eczema isn't always obvious, but it's real. And so is the relief from Ebglyss. After an initial dosing phase, about 4 in 10 people taking Ebglyss achieved itch relief and clear or almost clear skin at 16 weeks. And most of those people maintain skin that's still more clear at 1 year with monthly dosing.
Ebglyss, lebrikizumab LBKZ, a 250 milligram per 2 milliliter injection, is a prescription medicine used to treat adults and children 12 years of age and older who weigh at least 88 pounds or 40 kilograms with moderate to severe eczema, also called atopic dermatitis, that is not well controlled with prescription therapies used on the skin or topicals, or who cannot use topical therapies. Ebglyss can be used with or without topical corticosteroids. Don't use if you're allergic to Ebglyss. Allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Eye problems can occur. Tell your doctor if you have new or worsening eye problems. You should not receive a live vaccine when treated with Ebglyss. Before starting Ebglyss, tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection.
Searching for real relief? Ask your doctor about Ebglyss and visit ebglyss.lilly.com or call 1-800-LILY-RX or 1-800-545-5979.
Make your next move with American Express Business Platinum. Earn 5 times membership rewards points on flights and prepaid hotels booked on AmexTravel.com. And with a welcome offer of 150,000 points after you spend $20,000 on purchases on the card within your first 3 months of membership, your business can soar to new heights. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/business-platinum. Amex Business Platinum. Built for business by American Express.
Don Le Batard.
Ahoy, it's Captain Slappy.
Stugotz.
Is this Chum Bucket?
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
All right, I want to bring up a couple of things here off of what it is you guys are saying. I don't know if any of you have seen these documentaries. There's a Led Zeppelin documentary on Netflix. I haven't seen a whole lot of Led Zeppelin documentaries or information ever, so that must be some exclusive access. Hulu has one on Kiss. That's going to be less exclusive because Kiss is the most commercial band of all time.
I don't get
and
Kiss.
Paul, Ace Frehley, Paul Stanley. Let me think for a second here. The lead singer of Kiss is Paul Stanley, and his voice is shot too.
You have Paul and you have Gene occasionally that comes in. Yeah, they were all. I mean, they're older.
I don't know if that documentary is any good, but I have told you guys before, and I will tell you again, that some of the best music and television that I have ever seen is the Kennedy Center when they are honoring Led Zeppelin, and they're doing so with the lead singer of Heart and an orchestra. I urge you to check it out, and you see what you guys are talking about, where Ozzy Osbourne is moved. You see Led Zeppelin listening to their own music performed by a chorus and the lead singer for Heart, and you can see that their breath is taken away by seeing their own song performed by others in a way that overwhelms them. And I say again, not only was it some of the best music I have ever heard, it's some of the best television I've ever seen, the way that they used the crowd and showed you Led Zeppelin's band members just awed by seeing their own music performed that way.
I mean, Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones, the remaining members, along with Robert Plant of Led Zeppelin, they've wanted to, there have been times in the past they've wanted to get back together and tour, and the prevailing thought is Robert Plant always says no because he just can't hit the notes anymore. Like, he can't sing the songs anymore.
It doesn't necessarily. I guess they have a high standard. Look, if you try to watch GNR right now, it's a little painful.
Axl looked great, but he's lost so much weight.
Yeah, but he sounds like dog crap.
And when they returned, Axl was also injured, so he was doing the show from a throne. And when your lead singer, who used to have enormous energy, has to sit down, there's a palpable sadness. No matter how good the performance is, watching your old rock star, who is a symbol for youth, have to sit on the stage because he can't stand up, that's always sad, even if the music's good.
Yeah, but I understand why Steven Tyler decided to step away. Probably watching these videos of Axl and Vince Neil, like, I have this higher pitched voice. When that goes, it sounds much worse than the more baritone dudes. And I don't want to go out like that. Some people are fine doing the cash grabs. I actually saw Robert Plant not too long ago. I saw him like maybe 7 years ago. I didn't think he sounded bad. Now, he doesn't sound like Zeppelin, Robert Plant, because very few can. But I think with the nostalgia, and especially that band, where the instrumentation is such a huge part of it, being able to watch Jimmy Page live would be as impressive, if not more so, than hearing Robert Plant. I would love to see one last go as someone that never really had the opportunity to see them.
They're the greatest band ever. Like I would travel anywhere to go see them if they were to play again.
Daft Punk for me.
Because we were talking about the Netflix promotion of Led Zeppelin, which I'm not familiar with Led Zeppelin ever giving access to any of this stuff. I don't know how good or not this documentary is or how much they traded in exchange for that access. But when I asked you guys to give me Netflix best blockbuster movie ever, because they have things like Red Notice, cost $200 million. The Gray Man cost $250 million. And Netflix feels to me like it is trying to find the most mass audience with its giant movies, and it's missing by a note each time because it doesn't seem any of their giant movies are hitting. When I say Red Notice and The Gray Man had those kinds of budgets, that's bigger than Dune. That's bigger than Oppenheimer. That's bigger than Barbie. Does Netflix have a giant movie that they have made that is considered the best of their original programming? Because, again, they are trying. I've told you guys before that Netflix, as much as they're in the entertainment business, they're in the information. They're information business. Don't Look Up is
I'm not telling you to not research it. I'm telling you that was a movie with Leo DiCaprio.
What?
Yes, with Adam McKay, Don't Look Up was a big success for them. Is that
it did have a limited theatrical run before it went on Netflix, but that is a Netflix movie. I would say Carry On with Taron Egerton was a nice little 90s action throwback. And don't forget Extraction.
I like that movie.
Extraction, which spawned a sequel. Extraction, of course, main character Tyler Rake kills somebody with a rake.
Yeah. Are you guys surprised when I'm telling you their big movies have bigger budgets than Oppenheimer and Barbie and Dune?
I'm not so surprised by that because their business strategy is different. They don't necessarily care so much about what they spend on those things because they have a subscription model. So they're trying to get people to subscribe to their and hopefully they stash their credit card and forget that it's there. So I don't know. They could probably justify it. They keep doing it, although there are reports that Apple has tightened up its budget because Apple throws so much money at its original content and it's not getting the same amount of eyes. According to this list, Red Notice is actually, which was a critical bomb. Red Notice is what is touted by Netflix as their most popular original film, followed by Carry On, followed by Don't Look Up.
What about Bird Box?
Bird Box is top 5.
Fifth.
Also there.
The Adam Project is 4th.
I love that movie.
That was with Ryan Reynolds.
I love that movie, Adam
I'm
Project.
actually surprised because Extraction got critical acclaim and it was a really good action movie. It doesn't seem to be on this top 10 list.
I've told you guys recently that I am watching baseball a lot more and that I am seeing just about every night in baseball somebody jump over the center field fence to make a catch. It happened last night again. Jackson Merrill did it for the Padres.
You know, you saw that. I'm like, I guess I must be watching the same SportsCenter top plays. And then since then, 2 weeks have gone by, and all I see as I'm walking past TVs in airports and whatnot is some spectacular catch being made in the outfield.
Well, let me explain to you what Jackson Merrill did last night. He clearly robbed a home run in a game that kept Arizona shut out for the game. They did not score a run. This would have won the game, this home run, because the Padres only scored 1 run in the game. But this is how much this is happening in this sport. Jackson Merrill reached over the center field fence and took a home run, and then jogged into the dugout without any reaction whatsoever. The pitcher, raised his hands and was very happy because he hadn't lost the game, but Jackson Merrill had no reaction whatsoever to doing something that is now just a fly out in baseball because so many people are doing it. And to me, I've always thought that outside of hitting a home run on the last pitch of a game, that's got to be the best feeling that there is of any kind in baseball. I guess finishing a perfect game or no hitter, but an individual moment of feeling, there can't be a lot better in sports than the ballpark and the hitter don't know you have the ball. You know before everyone else knows that your athleticism has just prevented what could have been and what would have been a home run.
Yeah, I like when the outfielder does the fake out. Where you don't know if he caught it, and he just kind of
jogs away from the wall. You're not sure yet.
Takes a few steps, and then he pulls the ball. I got this shit.
I see you're jumping over the fence and robbing a home run, and I have another play that I think is just as exciting.
But you're raising.
More exciting.
From last night.
So you call and raise.
Well, he's going to try and raise me. I don't think he's got me, though. I think I got the nuts. He thinks he's got the nuts.
Well, I just said I see.
Yeah.
I
would also like to
show
see.
Up thing.
Because I've got a nominee, too. Go for it.
Well, there was a play yesterday where there's an inside the park walk-off home run.
It's pretty good.
Which is quite exciting. And it was a rare one where normally an inside the park home run is sometimes bases are cleared, someone falls over, whatever. San Francisco has that weird wall that's like at an angle and it has the brick, so sometimes it'll hit it and it's like a hard ricochet, so it ricochets off of that. Now the Giants at the time were down 2 runs. Zaz, there were 2 runners on base.
I know.
When this happened. So
if they both score, it's tied.
Can you imagine
if they both score, it's tied. Now, if the batter scores,
they win.
They win. And guess what happens?
Well, what happened?
Batter scored, they won. Yeah, 3-run inside the park walk-off home run. First walk-off home run, inside the park walk-off home run by a catcher since 19-something.
It wasn't even close. Like, you'd think inside the park home run had to be close at the plate. Not even close.
Not even close.
All right, I see, and I'm going to go with a play at the plate to end the game. League of Their Own style or Pudge style.
Pudge
I would
style
say
strong.
if you drop somebody in that didn't watch any sports in America and they saw the end of that Giants playoff game where Pudge just gets up and starts holding the ball
That
up.
was the first time ever a series ended play at the plate.
He was like so full of testosterone. I don't know what was going on there.
That was
must have been really freaking amped.
Just testosterone.
But just like to the crowd,
Why do you
like
think he
how
was
can you
amped?
not get juiced for that?
Yeah. And series end? Oh, God.
I mean, Dottie,
The series ended.
I remember where I was when that happened. Dan, do you remember where you was when that happened?
Where I was.
Remember where you
Yeah.
was?
What were you saying, Chris?
Dottie Henson dropped that ball on purpose. She felt bad for her sister Kit. Like that was I wasn't moved by that. I thought she did that on purpose.
Patrick Bailey is the catcher for the Giants. I'm stunned that there has been another game in Major League history that has ended with a catcher hitting a walk-off inside the park home run. I'm surprised that has happened more than once in the history of baseball. But to Billy's point that feels better than robbing a home run, Patrick Bailey himself said, and this was a funny quote, when they asked him how he was feeling, he was like, "I'm tired. I wish it had gone over the fence." So it doesn't seem it doesn't seem like that would feel quite as good if you're panicked and running around the bases in total fear because you're a catcher who doesn't expect to win the game with an inside the park home run.
He's definitely such a huge liar because if you're watching the replay, like when he's rounding third, the crowd is going bananas. It's so much better than if it were an actual over the fence home run.
Well, the thing with that one too, like that you see on the video, is when he hits it off the bat, everybody thinks it's a home run as it is. So like you're standing up and like, yeah, and then it hits the wall, you're like, huh? Yeah, because you see that it just skips by the outfielders, and then there's the chase, and he's running around, and he has to get home. And again, they were down 2 runs at the time, Zaz. So if both runners on score, tie game. If all 3 score, game over. Just as good as hitting it over the fence, but more prolonged excitement.
Tony, would you do me the favor of explaining to me and looking it up for me why a crowd would go bananas? Why bananas is the fruit of choice there on going bananas to make it something that identifies as crazy? Because I'm not familiar in any way with why it is that bananas is the go-to phrase there.
You can't go apples. It's just
I would think that you could go apples, though, if the phrase forever had been apples, because then we'd be saying you can't just go bananas.
I think we've talked about this and suggested going coconuts.
Coconuts is good.
Would be good.
Coconuts.
Well, bananas doesn't make any sense, though. I don't know why it is. How does it make sense to you?
Because that's the way it's said.
Yeah, because shit is bananas.
Is it because a banana is curved? Like what? It's not straight? Like what?
The origins are debated. The phrase is likely linked to a behavior of primates when they encounter bananas, which could be quite energetic and frenzied.
There you go.
Okay.
We go bananas. Well, yes. Oh, I took it away.
This is why people also say, "Oh, that person's going ape."
So I was not familiar with the fact that apes went a special kind of crazier than other animals when,
That's how they
with food.
At Zoo Miami, when Ron McGill walks up, they go ape shit. They get excited. They know him.
What's up with their asses,
that's
man?
true.
It's so gross.
I feel
their
bad
asses
for
are
them.
gross.
Yeah.
They need to see a dermatologist.
I was just about to say.
Yeah.
No small talk first.
Put it on the poll at Levitard Show. When you're being checked, when your privates are being checked by the doctor, do you want any small talk beforehand? The small talk makes it more awkward. You just, hey doc, in and out. Well, not too well.
Honestly, it'd be better than small talk.
Hey everybody, it's Mike. Down here in South Florida, as the audience well knows, we've been celebrating a proper championship, and we've been enjoying every minute of it. And by my side throughout that entire championship celebration has been Miller Lite. Yeah, I wanted to make my championship time a Miller time because much like most of the fun memories I've had as an adult, Miller Lite has been right there by my side, supplementing every experience. And now that I'm about to travel during the summer, you can rest assured I'm going to be having plenty of Miller Lite along the way, because that's what summer's all about. And since 1975, Miller Lite has been right there in all those memories for you listening right now. It's the 50th anniversary of Miller Lite. That's 50 years of great taste, great friends, great moments. Miller Lite, great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/Dan to find delivery options near you, or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. Cheers to 50 years of Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.